welcome to Kayla's World. I'm Kayla Canoe, aspiring author, and today's video is gonna be a little bit different than anything that I've done on my channel so far. So today I am going to be working on drawing a map for my fantasy world for my novel. I have drawn kind of a very simplistic shape of a map in the past, just to give me an idea of where my general regions and things are located, but I decided, now that I'm going into books 2 and 3 where we're actually going to be exploring more of the world, that it was time for me to create an actual more detailed map, because in the first book we are really kind of focused on one small area of the world as its entirety, so I didn't necessarily need the map and all the city names and all that stuff before, but I'm gonna need it now. So yeah, we're just gonna get right into it, and I'm going to show you guys me drawing my map. I hope you enjoy. Alright, so I started with 4 pieces of extra large drawing paper that I ripped out of my notebook, and I ripped all the edges off of it, and this is me taping them together. Obviously I'm only putting tape on one side because I'm going to be drawing on the other side. And then this technique that you see me doing right now, I am putting a bunch of beans on the paper. I actually learned this from a map making video on YouTube. I will link that down in the description below. But I am basically just moving these beans around, trying to get my landmass into like a shape that I actually like, and I did kind of have a preconceived concept of where the different nations or the different large cities would be. Like I have that little mass down there on the bottom left, which I already know is the Isle of the Undead, so I'm really just moving these beans around, trying to get an interesting shape. And then I started putting the little beans there at the bottom because I have islands that are down there, which I do end up drawing later in the video, but I was like, nope, let me just draw this land map first. So right now I'm outlining the beans, and so while I'm outlining, I'm doing kind of like shaky. I'm not being super strict as far as like how perfect the lines are, but I am kind of following the beans, giving it some little rigid looks. So once I get the beans off the paper, you should be able to kind of see the outline. It's not super easy to see because it was in pencil and I did not draw it super dark, but you can kind of see it there a little bit. And now I'm using the beans to create my mountain ranges. So the first book starts out in the center of a circle of mountains, so the first thing I put on there was my circle of mountains, because it makes a perfect circle. Because why not? It's a fantasy world. And so I'm laying out more beans just to give myself an idea of where I want my mountain regions to be. So kind of knew there were going to be mountains, adding more mountains, and then I am lightly, very lightly, and you probably can't actually see this on the video right now, but I very lightly outlined those beans to give myself a general area of where the mountains are. And of course, there's my mountains. I forgot to hit record while I was drawing the mountains, so all you really got to see me draw were the mountains on those little islands there up top, but I have my mountains drawn across the map, and now I am starting to draw in some of the rivers. So those squiggly lines are going from the higher elevation to the lower elevation. So in theory, all my rivers should be coming down and away from my mountains, and so I'm putting in some lakes. There are some lakes mixed into the mountains as well, but I'm putting in my lakes and I'm putting in some rivers, just kind of wherever it makes sense based off of where I placed my mountains. A lot of this was really just experimenting, and I did actually draw a smaller one of these previously before I drew this bigger one. The smaller one, again, was kind of a rough draft, and obviously things changed a lot, but I'm really just thinking about what I want where. I know up there in that north corner is my earth magic based city, So it's a very earthy city up there in that kind of empty space above the mountains. And then my light and dark nations are off to either side of the map, which I haven't drawn those guys in yet. But I already have an idea of wanting deserts kind of on the right side of the world there, so that's why there's not as many rivers and stuff coming out of it. But yeah. And then this is me. I created a little bit of a legend, so I was watching a video, and I can link that one down below too, to kind of come up with an idea of what I wanted my city markers to look like so that I could start drawing in my cities. And so I know that I have dwarves that live in the mountains, and so I'm creating my little dwarf city slash my mines. So there's a bunch of mines in the mountains, and so I'm drawing in all the mines on the mountain right now, which apparently you can't see through my shoulder. But yeah, so all those darkened dots are all of the mines in the mountains. And then I'm adding in some other little teepees, indigenous type structures over there on the right upper mountain range. Not quite sure who I want to have live there, but I figured it was a good secluded place for some of my less popular races to maybe be located. And now I'm drawing in filling in the city and the settlement for the northern city. I don't know that I necessarily completely liked the way that this one turned out. I think the city buildings needed to be bigger and take up more area, but it's not perfectly to scale, and it's kind of my first draft. I'm drawing in a bunch of trees. I'm putting in basically the parts where the giants live, so I know that the giants live over there in the north in the forest. So that's what I'm putting it on the map right now, is kind of a combination of the settlements and the trees. And drawing trees is not super fun. It gets a lot of bubbling and takes a lot of time, and yep, they're fun. So that's got some trees drawn in. And then I moved over there to the right side, and I'm actually starting to draw in some hatching for the farmlands. So my main character starts over in a farm village, so obviously I have to have farmlands because her village is in the farmlands. And so there I am, putting in all of the hatching, all of the 3 lines one way, 3 lines the other way. And just filling it in. And then I'm also adding trees too, because there's a forest near the farmlands and some action in my story goes on over there, so obviously I'm drawing it on there. My whole reason for drawing my map is because, as I mentioned before, for my next couple of books, they're going to be exploring more of the world, and so this is basically how I'm going to be getting kind of a visual idea, kind of a visual stimulation for being like, oh, okay, so these people live here, or when she's traveling from her village to, the city with all of the earth magic users, this is what she's going to pass by. She's going to be going through the mountain. She's going to be, maybe running into these people or running into those people. And so I would definitely say that drawing this map is going to be extremely helpful, not even just for having that visual representation, but even for like helping me generate ideas for my outline, because I kind of get excited seeing these little areas where I'm like, ooh, I can have a hidden tribe here, and ooh, I can have some people over here, just to give me ideas of interactions and stuff to add to my plot for my second and third books, because both of my, well, technically all 3 of my point of view characters will be traveling, but 2 of them more so than the third. And now I'm drawing in kind of terrain, so I'm actually putting in some swamplands, so that lower half under the mountains there is all swampy lands because there's a bunch of rivers there and the ground is just wet. And then I'm putting in my lines for some hills and for the desert over there on the right side. And then adding in some more farmland, some more trees and things like that over there on that right side. So I'm just kind of filling in all the extra white spaces that I have going on the map there, because I don't want to have any empty space. It's all some sort of terrain. So I'm putting in hills. The hills are kind of coming out of the mountains. And then there I am putting in my building for the processing center, which is one of the first locations that we're at in the first book. And I'm, putting some more farmland on the other side of the world because it can't all be on one side. And then this is me drawing the big cities, like the capital. This is the Dark Nation, so this is kind of where one of my characters starts out. This is his home. So I'm trying to put in a bunch of little cities around it, and moving them around and adding some extra land and stuff in there. It's supposed to be kind of a big, it's supposed to be a dense city, so again, same with when I drew my other city, I didn't necessarily like how the buildings turned out, so I'm probably going to have to go back and redraw some of that. But I did decide that over here on my islands could be like kind of the military training base, because one of my characters has returned home from his military training at the beginning of the book, and so I'm like, alright, these can be forts. So I'm drawing in some forts, some military bases, just kind of where it seems like it would make sense. And that was my cat that just came in, and yeah, and there's my other cat. So there's going to be a lot of cats in the background in this video, because they like to be in my room when I'm doing my writing stuff. But yeah, so I'm just filling in more terrain here. It's a lot of work. It took quite a bit of time for me to fill in all of the terrain and all of the buildings and all that good stuff on this map. And this is just kind of the, fast first draft of it too. When I go back in, I'm probably going to change some of these symbols to something that I like a little bit better, but again, like I said, I'm really just trying to get more of a feel for my world to help me get more ideas for it. And so yeah, I'm just filling it in, figuring things out as I go. If you guys like these, I'm not sure how much you can tell of the symbols from this view here, but if you guys are interested in how I made my map or more details on how to draw all the symbols on the map, I could potentially make some videos on that. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know in the comments below. I will make more map making videos because I enjoy making maps, and I have a design background, so drawing, I guess, is something I have a little bit of experience with. You'll see right now I am drawing the islands. These are volcanic islands. They have a bunch of volcanoes on them. Obviously, I already drew them one time on a smaller piece of paper because I was just kind of experimenting with drawing the islands, and now I am putting them on the actual world map in relation to the main island. I might end up boxing it off later because I think I want there to be more ocean or sea in between the mainland and those islands. Alright, so that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed watching me draw my little map. It is definitely not done. It is not a finished project. I still have more things to add to it, like town names, city names, and I have a city that still needs to be drawn. But yeah, if you guys like these types of videos, let me know by leaving comments below, liking this video, or subscribing to my channel. I put out new videos on Mondays. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your time here in Kayla's World.